All right, all right, all right. Let's talk soulful offers. I'm going to give you a broad view. I'm going to do my best to keep this clean, clear, simple. I may have missed some things, but I will pick up the slack as you all ask questions. So let's talk through what a soulful offer is. There's my CEO in the middle. There are, traditional sales cycles, traditional offers. I have my version of the soulful sales cycle and the soulful offer. We've got some bare bones here that we'll cover. I want to walk you through identity and pulling through business and what pulls on that, how to get deep results, or how to differentiate the people that are right for the deep results you get based on identity, process, and values. And the three pieces from my perspective that go into an offer and the result that your ideal soulmate client will get. And there's 4 types of offers, 3 general markets, and then let's talk psychology when someone's ready to buy. Menu items versus ingredients, which so many of us made this mistake. I did for about 20 years. And then how to get to yes and why no is just as good as a yes. So we're going to talk numbers 2 of what drives a decision, what people will buy. So let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. So let's start with problem or solution aware. Now, there are about 7 pieces to this, but I'm going to keep it simple. 40% of your market or your people are problem. Actually, so let me orient you. We're going to start with your ideal client who is ready to buy. But I'm going to back up and talk about how they got there in the first place, and then walk through some different ideation and how to think about different things and make them more aligned to you. So at any point in time, 40% of the market, whichever one you're in, is either problem aware or solution, or problem aware or unaware, meaning they don't even know they have a problem, even if they're miserable. Now, a lot of times what happens is we may think, oh, let me just show them and they can be happier. This doesn't work. These people need to be in enough pain to finally search for a solution. Me coming from chiropractic, I solved a lot of pain problems, but when people are driven by pain, the problem tends to come back because they're not solution aware or solution oriented yet. So we're not going to focus here. These people come around on their own time, right? But at any point in time, about 30% of the market, aka the people who are looking to spend their dollars, are solution aware or shopping, or they are ready to buy. 3% at any point in time is ready to buy, and that's what direct sales is based off of. Direct sales typically doesn't care about, relationship building. They are focused on the people who are ready to spend their dollars now when they see that thing they've been looking for. And so, it doesn't focus on the relationship. It focuses on those ready to spend dollars. Now, these people are spending dollars too, the problem aware, unaware. They're just spending it on things like distraction or feeling better where they're at. Now, these people are shopping for the right solution for what they're looking for and ready to spend their dollars on a different outcome. These folks have an idea of what they're looking for, and when they see the thing, they're going to pull the trigger. So we focus here. And again, this is part of timing. One of my mentors makes an offer every day because he's going to be there when people are ready to buy. And then, a lot of people focus here and help the person take the next step. You can do it any way you want, however it feels best. But let's talk about menu item versus an ingredient. And then why, from my perspective, never label yourself for what you do. Now, again, this might work for you, but for me, it did not. So let's go back to menu item versus ingredients. Let's say you're hungry. You're ready to buy. Ignore this down here. You're in a restaurant. Let's say you walk into the restaurant and the restaurant says, hey, I got eggs, I got bacon, I got onions and tomatoes and peppers and some lettuce and strawberries today. What would you like? WTF? No, where's the menu? Most of us try to appeal to our ideal buyers with a list of ingredients, aka services, and expect the client to use their own imagination to figure out how we will help them. That is not what the human mind does. The human mind needs to see a menu item. Plate it for me. Tell me what it does. When I see this, now I can think, can I add this? Can I subtract this? That's the customization. I didn't include it on here, but there's 3 pieces to a fantastic hybrid offer. That's a James Kemp thing, and that is community content customization. I can see a menu item all day long and be like, can you add this? Can you subtract this? But if I'm given a list of ingredients, I'm limited by my own experience and creativity. Well, we don't want that to be a limiter. So let's say your ideal client is ready to buy. This is their first decision point. Trying to get them here will waste a lot of energy and create resentment. And you want to wait till they get to the decision point. Once they get here, they're collecting data and looking, right? Because they're solution aware. Collecting data. This is where the offer document comes in. They want to see a menu item. Once they see that item, all right, let's think about this. Does this solve my problem? Is it timely? Is it what I need? They're going to collect more data, and then they're going to come to a decision point, which is a yes or no. Now, we don't want to hang out in the land of maybe. Maybe is not a possible yes. Maybe is an energy waster. It's an open loop in everyone's mind, and it gives you hope thinking maybe they'll come around, and it gets them off a hook to getting to a yes or no. Now, where this is kind is getting to a decision point will double down on the commitment to what they're already doing or help them commit to something else. So I now love getting no's because it is just as good as a yes. By the way, since we're here, people will buy relief and to collapse time. Now there's 2 kinds of offers I love. There's an install offer and there's a transformation offer. Transformation is typically longer term. Install offer is a short term with a quick win with an option to move forward. So didn't write that here, but that will make the event. So let's go on and go down here for the 2 requirements for a yes. Now, those of you in my inner circle and blueprint will resonate with this because you remember this. But there are 2 requirements for a yes. Number 1 is emotional resonance. That's the limbic brain. That is the amygdala. That's the taste, touch, smell, sight, sound. That is pre-verbal, pre-lingual, even prior to memory. There are pieces of a person very deep, their values levels deep, their soul level deep, that they're looking for. And when they feel that, it's I think I need this. But usually what happens is they feel that yearning desire and they're waiting to see the thing that outlines what they've been trying to nail down with language. So it's based on values and future identity and vision, aka will they feel better about who they become if they say yes here? That's the emotional resonant. Am I moving closer to who I want to become? Now that's based on values and identity versus a result. Results typically come later with what I do, but most people need a result to build the belief that I can do this. So the second requirement is it makes sense. This is the logical brain, and this is where most people start and stop. This is why there's a lot of convincing going on, or how are you different, or here are all the benefits and features. It completely leaves this out, which, once someone gets the result, they're probably going to be out. They might not have a reason to hang around because they don't see a reason to if they're not going to become a future version of themselves that they're even more proud of and they love to live. So the making sense piece is based on timing and price and the return on investment, as in, will it return what they think they need right now? Now, this is the piece to say yes to an offer. And an offer, we're going to call it, let's go back to the ingredients versus menu item. You're going to have things that you love and that you're good at. And the secret sauce is, what will the market buy? Oh, I didn't color that in. Let's do that. Actually, this is the sweet spot that you totally want to go for. But it's going to require putting offers out into the world to see what the market's actually ready for, and combining what you're good at and what you love to actually get a result. You could do just what you're good at and leave out what you love, but that's not sustainable. So we're going to talk about putting out a sustainable offer that you're going to love delivering. So will it return what they think they need? Now, getting to a yes or no, these numbers are very interesting because only 20% is the message. If you are focused on the words, Awesome that it's clear and compelling and that they understand, but that's about 20% of the decision point. So can they understand what they are looking at? 40% is timing. Is it what they think they need right now? So some people, this is sell them what they want, give them what they need. Now, some people, if you're looking at this, you might think you need an offer, or you might be like, I'm curious about this. I've seen this. Interesting fact, I didn't even know what an offer was. I knew what it was. I've been hearing about them for probably 5 years now, but I kept confusing this for this because of how indoctrinated I was in the healthcare field. We can only bill for these. We can't really put these together. It's just really not baked in. This is a very creative thing that we weren't allowed to do here. And so once I unlearned enough, I clearly understood, wow, it's literally the difference between a menu item and a list of services. And it doesn't matter if, as a doctor of chiropractic that did a whole lot of other things, epigenetic testing, genetic testing, soft tissue therapy, neurokinetic therapy, proprioceptive deep tendon reflex, even including coaching that was unpaid for, and neurolinguistic programming and evolved neurolinguistic programming that wasn't on my list of billable services. If because of one visit, 10 years of pain disappeared and didn't come back for 2 years, they still saw this as a chiropractic service, which most people cannot fathom paying over $150 for. Even though if they went to someone else who packaged, hey, I will address this thing that you've dealt with for 10 plus years without blah, 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 that might be worth $5,000 to that person if they can eliminate 10 years worth of discomfort that will actually improve their life in another way. That's not how I was trained, which is why I was highly trained to only do this and could never break into this. It just didn't compute until now. So where are we? Okay. The timing, is it what they think they need now? Do they think they just need another lead? Do they think they need to lose 10 pounds? Do they think they need a different diet plan? Do they think they need a relationship? Do they think they need a husband? Like, what do they think they need? And then, interestingly, 40% is urgency. This is the boundaries, the time limits, limited spots, shifts, timelines, price change, whatever that is. Now, fake urgency is really lame. We want actual real urgency. And this is based on energy management from yourself. When you know what you can deliver while staying connected to yourself and putting life first, while cultivating the relationships and building the business, because when you move from identity first, everything else shifts, and the emotions, the energy management, and the relationships will actually pull the string on the business. Moving from identity first, that's how you get away from trading who you are to run a business, to turning a business into a reflection of who you are. You move here first. But knowing what your capacity is allows you to naturally set this. And there was a point in time where I was bound to treat or provide service for anyone who came into my office. And I was trained that I was responsible for their outcome, which is why, so the simplest form of an offer is a promise, a plan, and a price. As a woman, for me, I was conditioned that if I made a promise, that was going to happen no matter what, even if it required action on the other person's behalf. So I prefer vision. This is hey, is this the kind of result you want? Well, this is the goal. Is that you? Cool. Plan is the vehicle. Here's how we're going to get there. This is where I name the mechanisms, label the mechanisms. Once you've done something over and over and there's a name that resonates, that's a mechanism. And then the price or the value. I like value over price because price, it's a dollar amount, but I look at this as an investment of, hey, is this worth this to you? If it is, let's move forward. If not, let's look at customization. So this is my preference, especially as a woman, because from my from my perspective, we're conditioned to over deliver anyway. And so when we can look at our energy management and then create this vision and vehicle and present a value, it's going to be a yes or a no or a maybe. And a maybe is usually either an unanswered question or a I don't believe in myself. So no is a fantastic response. That means they have self-selected that this is not for them. This has saved you a lot of time, energy, and effort. Either it's not the right time, they're not the right person, or you just don't have the style they prefer. This is amazing information. This saves a lot of heartache. And a yes, that's when they know and you know. Now, some yeses should be no's. We're not going to cover that here. But generally, you know if a yes should really be a no. And that's where you can ask deeper probing questions. So I'm going to go ahead and go up here and say, know who your people are. They are generally a version of you, a past version of you, or a future version of you that your skills and passion will solve a problem for or will get them the result they're looking for. Problems are just results that haven't happened yet. It's like, I have this problem because I want this result and I'd like to collapse time. Remember, people buy relief or time collapse. So problems are just really solutions in disguise with a time gap between where someone is and where they are. So to not want to fork your eyeballs out, you're going to want to have some conditions met. First of all, your soulmate client needs to be up here. They need to be solution aware. They should have the desire to move, the willingness to take action, and they'll be a good fit. It's the right time. And they can see the gaps versus having unrealistic expectations. So this is where you want to manage expectations. And this is where no is just as valuable as a yes, because that means your messaging is on point and your people can self-select whether it's the right time or not. So again, up here, there's 3 pieces of this equation to me from a soulful position. What you love, which from my perspective, I learned in chiropractic school, the only difference between a live, walking, living, breathing, evolving human and a cadaver is electricity that the soul is carried in. And that is our direct connection to divine. And that's where our purpose and identity lies. That's our soul purpose. That's the whole reason we came here. That's my belief. Might not be yours. Totally okay. But that's also where the passion lies if you let it. Now, a lot of us were conditioned away from what we loved because it'll ruin your love for it. When you can combine this with this, and then people buy it, that is the absolute sweet spot where you have full autonomy. So, example, we have a Cane Corso baby puppy, and she's about 6 months old now, and I knew they liked water, but our last Cane Corso didn't want to go outside. This one didn't fetch at all, and then my husband threw a stick in the water. She jumped right out and got it and came back, and now she's a natural water doggy. We'd have never known if we hadn't thrown the stick. This is inside of you already. You have a natural gift and a unique genius that's inside of you. You just got to bump around enough to find it. Now, what you're good at is going to be a reflection of the reps you've done in life, the certifications, the training, the life experience. Some people, this has been me, get caught up in trying to get enough certifications to finally accomplish this. There are people with no certifications at all who have just done some reps in this category and then thrown something out there and people say yes. So we're going to skip the whole, it takes a certain amount of time to do this, and we're just going to do this already. So the result that you're going to get someone is your genius plus your expertise, what you love plus what you're good at. And then the offer doc, it's just words on a piece of paper with a basic structure. And there is a plug and play template and an evolved plug and play template. And I also put these together for women one-on-one because I just love them. Interestingly, this was a natural gift and talent, but I thought because I had no training, this wasn't my thing. Turns out I'm really good at it. I've always been really fantastic at writing in psychology and understand buyer psychology, et cetera, and deep values-driven language. Beside the point, with an offer doc, is it positioned for those that it will help? That's it. And to verify whether a doc To verify an offer, you get 3 yeses out of about 10. You want a 30% close rate. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be great at sales. This is an offer-driven business. It takes a lot of this off the table, a lot of this high pressure stuff off the table, because you can clearly put ingredients in your offer that you're already good at and that you love, and then people will pay money for that to get them a result, right? So, do they understand what you can do for them? And do they want it? Do they understand? Do they want it? So, again, testing what the market will buy. It's just timeliness, education, and reputation. Now, this comes over a period of time, and testing. Testing and experimentation is the biggest thing. And the cool thing about black and white paper is it allows the person's imagination to do the work to determine, is this for me or not, versus you trying to paint the whole picture. And you can ask clarifying questions, right? Did this make sense? So there's generally 3 markets: health, wealth, and relationships. 3 general markets. 4 general types of offers: make money, save money, live a better life, which is health and relationships, and stay legal. Stay legal is kind of its own thing that's pretty, I don't even want to say niched, because niche comes after you figure out who your ideal person is, and they just so happen to have other things in common with other people. The way I like to look at my ideal people is they have a certain set of values. I look at it from a values perspective. For instance, my women care about what happens to the world. They want to get paid to be who they are, and they have natural gifts and talents that they've developed over time, but that maybe have been conditioned out of them. They deeply care about others, tend to overgive, and so positioning themselves first will naturally help everyone else. It's kind of a generalized statement, right? But most of my ladies want to get to 10K a month, would be really happy at pulling in 5K for being who they are, and they're either on their way or they've been there and they're repositioning themselves to pull it in based on identity, right? So most of my women have already made that amount of money, but in a way where they have to give up who they are and what they love, and they're no longer going to do that anymore. That was also myself. So money, making money, the money is probably the easiest thing to sell because of this. When you compare dollars to dollars, like pay $3,000, I'll create something that will make you 10 grand if you do X, Y, Z, and et cetera, et cetera. If you say, hey, I'll give you $1 and you can make 10 back, how about that in 3 days? Sure. If I give you $1,000 and you get $10,000 back in 7 days, if you do X, Y, Z, are you cool with that? Yes. And this is where we come to, I didn't write it on here, but guarantees and risk reversal. Guarantees are actually on the way out because so many over guarantees have been made, and it's kind of seen as just the thing to be said to make someone buy. There is a risk reversal, though. I do like those. What that means is deliverer and client split the risk. AKA, hey, you do X, Y, Z, get to this marker. Until then, that's kind of an explanation of a risk reversal, but I can show you more about that on the training. So let's actually look at what I consider an soulful offer. I always put identity first, values, resonance, and process driven. I do show a result, but the results are usually on the other side of surpassing an identity block. And so what happens is the promise and vision become inevitable because identity always leads the way. So when you pull the identity string first, meaning I haven't become the person who makes 10 or 20K yet, but I'm going to act like it and I'm going to go ahead and do it, that pulls a string of emotional mastery, energy management, and relationships. Like, it will force these to change, which will pull business. Here's the thing about relationships. It's literally just how we do, so business is just how we do relationships with money. So a lot of the times what happens is when women start moving from here, something happens in their relationships. And I have a whole process on how to deal with this and how to renegotiate contracts and move forward. And the divine masculine and feminine, etc. But this will directly impact business in the best way. But the amygdala will hijack you. So these pieces will pull business as long as you move from identity first. And let's look at what traditional sales look like. This was ucky for me. I hated this. I was great at it. If I believed in something, I would, what's it called? Screen for other chiropractors when I was in school. I always had a 50% close rate. I don't know why. I was the best closer, but I understood emotional resonance. I started not feeling good about what I was selling, tried to do it myself, then realized, wow, I'm having to give up exactly who I am because this whole model doesn't even fit who I am because of this. And I'm essentially a holistic pain med, and I actually want to completely change people's lives, but I can only bill for 7 services and my hands are tied. So what happened with me is I was either going to have to give up exactly who I was and my values to make this work, or change the whole thing and flip it on its end and create a model that fit who I am so that I could do things the way I wanted and honor what's naturally in my soul, what I've already developed skills doing, and what people are ready for. So traditional sales, this is prospecting, getting leads. Alex Sharfin talks about the 5 core functions of business. It's lead gen, lead nurture, conversion, delivery, retention, resell, upsell. I believe that's them. But I'm going to show you my version of that in a second. So there's prospecting, setting appointments, presenting, which is the pitch, the demo, the presentation, handling objections, which is the concerns, doubt, etc. Closing, the sale agreement or the payment, and the follow-up, nurture, or circle back with non-buyers. This just feels like putting cows through a barn to me. It's very impersonal. I never liked it. I couldn't get down with it. It was, finding people, setting appointments, presenting a thing, whether they wanted it or not. It just felt gross. Overcoming objections, which it's like, I didn't even feel good about it. The closing and then follow-up. I did not let this never felt good for me. It never felt real. This is what I do now. And if I were have to do a 1-to-1 comparison, I'll walk you through these. But the way I do it, so there's always a sales cycle, right? People love to buy and hate to be sold to. So, I don't know, it's magnetic invitation. I do a lot of this through my content. I love putting out content. I'm a creative. I was afraid to do it for a long time. I got really good at video by doing tons of raps, probably thousands of hours on it, a little obsessive. I used TikTok because I didn't take it seriously. Now I'm, have a decent amount of engagement on there, but the visibility and the resonance with aligned prospects and clients. I share who I am, so those who are for me come toward me, and those who are not for me can go their own way. The more deeply you share of yourself, the more your people can find you and say, that's my girl. And whether they're ready to buy or not, they'll say, that's my girl. When I'm ready, she is who I'm going to give my money to because I want to support her and I want to be connected to her. That's how that works. The natural calibration, speaking directly to those energetically aligned. So this naturally filters out those who aren't the fit. On the offer doc, I actually have who this is not for. So I do this a lot in content as well. I speak to the version of the woman I want to serve, or the version of the person who got the results. Speaking to one person will actually pull more people to you versus speaking to a lot of people because it activates the reticular activating system, believe it or not. The clear offer, it's just a clear, simple next steps without over explaining or convincing. So it's, what is this? What's it called? What can you expect? Who's it for? Here's the vision. Here's how to get started. And I'll walk through either another video, but I do have a document for this. And then the precise agreement. Clear, easy path to say yes. This is the permission slip to step forward versus the pressure. So this is, hey, if you're ready, this is what it looks like over this amount of time. Are there questions? Because there is a piece of customization involved potentially with good fits. So let's just walk through the apples to apples. Prospecting, that's going to be magnetic visibility. You showing up just as you are and pulling those toward you who are great fits and pushing those away who you don't want to work with anyway. Setting appointments. This is just is that an emotional and energetic invite? Hey, would you like to chat? Like, some version of, hey, what's up in your world? Presenting, like when you come from who you truly are, this stuff kind of just naturally unfolds. It's like, oh, what do you do? Well, I can't even come up with anything. It just kind of naturally comes up in conversation. But hey, this is what I do. Would you like to see an example? Cool. Yes or no. Handling objections. I do a lot of this in the content too. It's here's where my resistance was, and here's what happened as a result. Closing. This is literally just, hey, is it the right time for you? Does this speak to you? Yes or no? And then follow up. How are things going? This is just ecosystem expansion. Are you ready to expand? Are you happy where you're at? What's up in your world? So it's kind of even hard for me to like walk through a scripted version. I just have conversations with people. I naturally love people and am interested in them. And this never felt natural for me. It's cool to have words there, just to be able to point at something, because if you can point at something, it makes it easier, which is why pointing at dollars is very easy, or pointing at that relationship that you want to improve, or pointing at that health thing that you want to improve is helpful. But that's how I approach things. If I were to simplify it, I show up just as who I am. I have conversations with women I'd love to spend my day off with. And I'm lucky enough to be in close proximity with people who I trust to house sit or keep my animals, or if I had children, keep them. So I'm very identity, values, and process driven. Like, who are you? Who do you want to become? Do we align from a values perspective? So that is the overall map. And what I should probably do is a small video on the anatomy of an offer doc. So love you all so much. Thanks for watching.